The UConn Huskies fall in the Big East yet again, this time to Marquette with a final score 82-76. This was a great game through and through. We saw some fantastic play from Marquette, some great three-point shooting. They looked really good. They limited the turnovers compared to their counterpoint, UConn, and they had some good steals in this one. That was ultimately what gave them the victory. We're going to break this one down, though, Steve. 82-76. We're seeing the number 6 team in the country lose yet again, and we're seeing them now 2.5 games behind in the Big East standings.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I was listening to the pregame show on CBS Sports Network, and they kept talking about how, UConn's the best team in the Big East, and talking about Creighton and Marquette. But the team atop the Big East is Providence, and nobody seems to be giving them any props. But I don't know. Is it just bad luck that UConn's running into? I don't know that they're necessarily getting outplayed night in, night out. I'm not quite sure where to pin the blame on this one. If you have to blame anything, I don't know where to point it. What was your takeaway from this game?
Yeah, what I'm looking at this, and after watching the game, I think initially each of them shot and they made 6 3-pointers, but UConn had a couple more attempts, so it puts their percentage down at 27% compared to Marquette's 37%. So I don't know if I really want to put it and point it towards the 3-point shooting woes of UConn, because they each had the same on that point. So each got the same scoring points from beyond the arc. However, I think I'm going to point it towards the turnover department for the Huskies. They had 16 turnovers in this one. They were at -5 turnover margin compared to Marquette. And, that's enough. 5 turnovers turning into possessions, losing a 6-point game. That just can't happen. They're also -3, -3, if you will, in the steal margin. They had Marquette had 8 steals to only UConn's 5. You can't have that many steals. You can't have that many turnovers. I know they kind of go hand in hand, but you just can't have that. It just doesn't work out in its way. They both shot well from the free throw line. UConn 80%, Marquette 84%. And they both really shot good from the field as well, both really near 50%. Both these teams played good basketball. It's just when it came down to the end of this, Marquette was the better team because they were just a little more consistent with their 3-point shooting, with their free throw shooting, with their turnovers, and it was enough to get that 6-point win. We saw some great play, some fantastic play for Marquette from Incardero. He was 7 for 16 from the field, 19 points on this one, only 3 rebounds, but looked real good. Prosper had 17. Jones had 15 as well. Marquette really moved the basketball around a lot in this one, and I think that was enough to get the victory. As for UConn, we saw some great bench play from Klingon. And I know when you say bench play from him, you're usually not expecting that, but he did come off the bench in this one. And as you mentioned, Steve, he had 20 points in 21 minutes. He looked really good in this one. I think UConn, I don't think they need to lower their heads or walk out of this one in shame. I think they played good basketball. Just at the end of it, Marquette came to play. They were a little more consistent. And we're going to see that number that's now sitting at number 25 for Marquette move up in the rankings once a new week comes around. And for UConn, unfortunately, it's probably going to drop them out of the top 10.
Yeah, Marquette is really a team united. I've seen a lot of people talk about, kind of comparing them to like the early 90s Duke teams. I saw another article where they were being compared to those great Monmouth Hawks teams that had those great runs in the Metro Atlantic, and the bench was putting on a show. During the game, it was almost as much part of the game what was going on the bench as it was on the floor. So Shaka Smart's doing what he's always done. He's built programs, he's brought teams together, and I think he's getting every ounce of ability and talent and certainly commitment on the floor from this Warrior team than maybe any team he's ever done. I mean, I really think Marquette is much better than I anticipated. Not that I thought that they would be a losing team, but I think they played so well together. Carabin, a great player, for Connecticut, but it seemed that even the good players, Sonogo, Carabin, Marquette had an answer for them, all the time, especially in the front court. And when you think Marquette going back even to the 70s, you think guards. But really, like you said, Incardero had a big game. Prosper is the other guy on their front line. I mean, they had the answer for what Connecticut's strengths were. And if you're going to get, some good play, from Jones, I mean, Kolek didn't have the game he had the last 2 games, but he played pretty well on the floor. I guess the Big East, really, the story is the Big East is deeper top toward the bottom than we might have anticipated. The teams at the bottom are going to stay there, and I don't see them even glimpsing daylight. They're going to stay at the bottom. But I think you're going deeper. I think now really the Big East may be 8 or 9 teams deep, battling for 4 or 5 spots come tournament time.
Yeah, so you don't see Georgetown finding a way to the top anytime soon? Okay, that's fine. I understand. I completely understand. I might disagree. No, I'm just kidding. I don't disagree. As for Mark,
if there's a tsunami, on the Potomac, maybe then the bottom goes to the top. But
yeah, could be the case. Maybe all of a sudden they'll start playing golf rules. Lowest score wins. Might be the case. However, as for Marquette on Sunday, 12 o'clock noon on Fox, they start the gauntlet to the Big East, if you will. They're going to take on Xavier. The following game after that, Wednesday, they take on Providence. Both those teams are undefeated still in the Big East. So if Marquette, if they want to show they're for real after this win against number 6 UConn, they can do that by defeating number 12 ranked Xavier and currently number 19 ranked Providence. And if that's the case, if they can find a way to beat both them teams, Steve, I'm going to say it right here, right now. Marquette is a top 5 team.
Oh, absolutely. Because, and they earned their way there. There are enough teams that are backsliding so that teams like Marquette can make a rapid march up through the standings. I think this game was on national TV. If you can watch a team like that play, more people get interested. So yeah, I would be shocked, right? If they pull off the next 2, I'd be shocked if they're not a top 5 team. And then if they're not a top 5 team, we probably have to have a whole different show about what are the AP voters doing.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. As for UConn, they have, obviously, they're still in Big East play as well. They take on St. John's on Sunday, noon, Fox Sports 1. And then on Wednesday, they take on Seton Hall. St. John's 12-6 right now. Seton Hall 10-8. When you look at their Big Ten standings, St. John's is 2-5 in Big Ten play. Seton Hall is 3-4. UConn sits at 4-3 in Big East play. If I said Big Ten, I apologize. In Big East play, 2.5 games back from Providence and Xavier. That's not good coming from a team we were talking about being in the top 5 earlier this year. Obviously, they sit 6 right now. They're going to drop, I think, below into the top 10, maybe even farther out of the top 10 after this loss. But UConn, obviously, they're still having a great season, sitting at 15-3. They haven't lost at home yet. That's something to still keep in mind, something that's really good that only them and Providence have done so far this season in the Big East. I still have a lot to be hopeful for this team, but obviously a couple concerns are appearing, especially in conference play.
Yeah, if you're in the Big East, and that, you could say that for any of the really major basketball conferences, but if you're in the Big East and you can hang in the top 25, I don't think you're really going to be too worried about it, especially this early in conference play. If you're in the top 25 or maybe that 26th team, like just outside of that, I think you can still feel pretty good about yourself, and you know that you've got 2 months to try to correct things before the Big East tournament would occur. But you also don't want to just keep accepting losses that perhaps you look back later and say, oh, we could have had this game. Now, in this game, even though UConn made a game of it, Marquette was in control, so I don't know that they can go look at tape and say, we could have won this game, and if we just done this differently. I mean, Marquette was just simply a better basketball team.
I'm with you 100%. Let us know your thoughts in the comment description below. What do you think about UConn, Marquette, and the rest of this Big East Conference? Leave your comments in this video with a like. Hit subscribe while you're there. And thanks for watching SlasherU.